Maybe you can tell us we go back in time.
The plot of Star Trek 4.
Yeah,
That's what you want to know.
Just like we go back in time. Now I want to know what we're doing.
The plot of Star Trek 4. You ready?
How many tapes you got today?
And we have Speedy. You rolling?
We're ready.
Are you serious? Really? Yeah? Okay. Star Trek 4 is a story in which the key characters, our family group of characters, Star Trek characters, have to go home to Earth from the Vulcan planet, where they have been stranded at the end of Star Trek 3 with a Klingon bird of prey as the only vessel that they have available to them with which to make the trip. And they have to go back to face court-martial for all the nasty things they did and all the rules they broke and so forth in Star Trek 3. And they get in the Klingon bird of prey, which they have refurbished so they know how to fly it and so forth, and en route home they discover that Earth is in terrible trouble. The planet, the entire planet, is in terrible trouble. There's a problem, which we really shouldn't talk too much about because that would be giving away the plot. But in order to help solve that problem, or the only hope they have for solving that problem, our people decide they must go back 300 years in time to now, to the late 1980s, to the city of San Francisco. And that's what we do. We land in San Francisco, 1986, now, to pick up a I can't tell you. To pick up a pair of creatures, let's say, to fly them into the 23rd century, to save the Earth.
Save the Earth.
Is that what you wanted to know?
That's what I wanted to know. Yeah, I got that. Okay. I want you to give me two overviews. All right. I want you to tell me about Bill Shatner as an actor. I'm working on this. And then after I'm going to do DeForest Kelley. We're doing three pieces, one on you, to Kelly, and Shatner. So I want you to talk about Bill as an actor and as Kirk, or some little...
Bill Shatner and I worked together once before we ever started working on the Star Trek series. And it was in, I think, an episode of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. in the early 1960s. I was impressed with him then. He's an extremely professional, well-trained actor. And in a sense, he and I both came from the same kind of background. We both came from theatrical backgrounds. We started in the theater and then moved into television and movies. His theatrical training was more classic than mine. Shakespearean theater and that kind of thing in Canada. Mine was more American naturalistic kind of theater. So we had that difference. But I understand what he does very well, and I know how he does it, and I know how he thinks. We are very close in mentality. We are exactly 4 days apart in age. 4 days apart. He's the older one, of course. Everybody knows that. We are very good friends, get along very well. We have our tensions on the set, just like anybody else would when there's a difference of opinion. But in general, we really, I think I can honestly say that we admire each other's work and have a lot of respect for each other's work, and we get along very well. I think he's a terrifically hard-working professional actor.
Great. I'll do something on DeForest.
DeForest Kelley is an old guy.
Okay, let's do take two on that. No. You're doing...
DeForest Kelley is a classic film actor. Classic film actor. He's a guy who probably you'll never see do a dishonest moment. He's very spare, very sparse in his choices, not flamboyant or theatrical. Extremely real on camera. His kind of acting is behavior. It's rather than performance. He doesn't perform for the camera. He behaves like a human being. And I think the best tradition of film actors. He started working in films probably long before any of us in a Star Trek cast. Here at Paramount. He was under contract with Paramount, I believe, in the 1940s. And in some very wonderful and famous films with all the big guys, with Henry Fonda and people like that. I love him. He's a very talented, dear friend.
Good. Leonard, in this picture you directed and you starred. And it was a big part. Can you tell me a little bit about that, the directing and starring in Star Trek? How'd you feel about that?
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's hard.
Okay, gang.
No, there are people who, like Woody Allen, for example, who do it regularly. I'm not sure how you can do it picture after picture. It's hard work. You really are doing two jobs the acting is enough and the directing is enough. To do both is a lot of work. I have the advantage in Star Trek because I know Star Trek, and I know my character, and I know the other characters. So it's not as though each time I'm trying to develop a whole new world from scratch. So I have that advantage. But the disadvantages are that when you're in a scene, you can't keep your eye on it as the director might. And it's just very hard to do both jobs. Very tiring physically too, because particularly with the Spock character, because on days when I'd be in full makeup, it takes a couple hours to do that makeup. So you're doing putting in the full day as a director as well as the acting work and the makeup time. It's a long day.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed it. I've had a great time on this picture. I am very excited about this picture. I was very pleased with Star Trek 3. I thought we accomplished what we set out to do, which was to do a picture that was really about the people and their feelings about the Star Trek people and their feelings about each other. In this picture, I think we have done, I hope, the most fun, adventure, humorous Star Trek yet. A real runaway, have a good time, scary, exciting adventure with fun.
Let me go back on that, what you said. You have them working. It's almost kind of ensemble. They're almost like a family working.
Yeah.
Give me a little feelings on that, on the crew. How you get them into that? Because
well,
they meet every 2 years.
You don't have to work very hard at getting this group back into that chemistry. That's I think one of for years and years people have asked what is the reason for the success of Star Trek, and certainly that's one of the major elements. It's not the only element, but one of the major elements is that this particular group of people have a chemistry. When you put them together, something starts to happen. They interact with each other in wonderful ways. That's not always true. You bring together 7 or 8 actors and actresses, it doesn't always happen that way. With this group, it does. And you don't have to teach them to do it. You don't have to lead them to do it. The day that they come back to work together, if you were to gather with them in the makeup department and watch them all getting their makeups on and telling each other stories about what's been happening to them since the llast time they made a movie together, you'd find that it's like family coming together again and reporting to each other. So the chemistry is always there. It's for the director, in this case, it's a process of shaping a little bit and controlling a little bit and designing a little bit, but you have that chemistry working for you as a tremendous plus.
Star Trek is unique. I'll start with that. How do you find it's different from, say, the Star Wars school of movie making?
Well, we are, again, in Star Trek, I think, more of a people-oriented.
Could we just start in Star Trek?
Yeah,
more
yeah.
Instead of with, if you don't mind?
I think that the core of Star Trek is a little different. The core is about the people. Whereas in some of the other science fiction or science fantasy films, the core is about the adventure. Perhaps in Star Trek 4, we're bridging the gap a little bit. We are kind of a people adventure, if you will, closer to a people adventure than we've been before.
How much of today's special effects influenced and changed the Star Trek movies as they've gone along?
Well, special effects have had an interesting curve with us in the Star Trek movies because when we did the television series, we could not afford a lot of special effects. We had very, very little special effects. When Star Trek the Motion Picture, the first Star Trek movie was made, the pendulum swung very much the other way because suddenly the attitude was, well, we're making a big motion picture now and we have the money now, so let's really do some exciting special effects. It became so much a special effects movie that the people got lost, the characters got lost. And in Star Trek 2, 3, and 4, I think we have gradually found our way back to a moderate position so that we're taking advantage of both of those items that are available to us, the characters and the actors on the one hand and the special effects on the other. This particular film, I would say, in terms of the George Lucas kind of industrial light and magic special effects, I think this film leans least on that kind of element of all of the films we've done so far.
Oh, that's good. What do you see the future of Star Trek?
Well, the future of Star Trek is dependent entirely on each individual film, it seems to me. As each film is made and opens, the studio decides what they're going to do next with Star Trek. My hope is that we will be able to continue the trend that we've established so far with these movies. Most people will agree that the Star Trek movies through movie 1, movie 2, movie 3 have gotten better and better. And if we can continue that pattern, and if Star Trek 4 will be hopefully accepted as the best, and I think it has a chance of being accepted as the best of all of them so far, I would say there's a good chance that there'll be another Star Trek film after that.
Can you change that? Okay. I bet.
We're out of tape. Good. Okay. Take the rest of the day off.
Okay. The storylines of Star Trek, are they completely fictional or any are based on scientific fact?
Very much based.
The stories.
Star Trek stories. We make an effort with the Star Trek stories to base them on fact, scientific fact, not necessarily a particular event that has taken place, but we try to be scientifically credible. And that's the difference between, I think, science fiction and science fantasy. Science fantasy doesn't have to and doesn't try to be credible. You just do whatever the story calls for or whatever is dramatic or exciting. Science fiction should be, I think, based in some kind of potential scientific credibility. So that although, for example, we don't know how today to transport a person electronically from one place to another, there's a scientific theory behind that, which someday perhaps scientists could manage to work out.
That's good. That's fine. In Star Trek for the Voyage Home, do you think it'll be an objective look at our time by someone from the outside, say somebody from the future, and do you think it'll make a moral statement?
I think Star Trek IV will make a comment in a fun and exciting way. It's not a message picture, but there are some ideas about what's happening on Earth today in the 20th century that I think we're having some fun with, and which the audience will recognize and enjoy, I hope.
Good. What appeals to you about the character Spock? Is he close to your own personality, and do you feel attached to him?
Spock is very much like me. He's intelligent, well-read, logical, very likable, charming, great sense of humor, and totally humble.
Okay.
Never lie.
When somebody leaves the picture...
And never lies, right?
When your audience leaves that movie, what would you like it to feel?
When the audience walks out of the theater having seen Star Trek IV, I'd like to have them think, wow, that was great. That was great. I want to get in line and see it again.
That's great. All right, now give me one thing. If we're gonna talk into the science fiction audience,
Yeah.
the convention audience, you got something you could say to them, and maybe we could end it with peace and prosper or something like that.
To the science fiction audience?
This is for you. I want to use for the tag of that science fiction.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
I'd like to come to you and you to cap it.
Yeah, I would like to say something to the science fiction readers and film goers and television watchers who have been incredibly supportive of Star Trek over the years and appreciative of Star Trek. They've been enormous help and inspiration to us. They have kept us alive as a series and as a series of motion pictures. We are, all of us, very much aware of their contribution to what this whole world of science fiction is all about, and I say to all of them, live long and prosper.